Hey guys, I have popcorn today. I'm gonna try to catch it. Oh well, maybe Q can catch it. Ready, Q?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna try. We're both bad at it. I just want to remind you, go talk to your parents. This poor little girl, Madeline, she lost her mother last week or 2 weeks ago. She has no way to get to Clubhouse Guatemala, but we're gonna build her a house. So love to have you guys donate. We gotta raise $2,000 real soon. Okay, today you guys get to learn about slope. Some of you have done it before and some of you have not. Basically what slope is how steep a line is. So it can be a little steep or a lot steep, and we associate a number or actually a fraction with the word slope. So I want you to write this in your notes. The slope is the slant of a line, and that's my definition of it. Basically, the slant of a line. M is the letter that you're going to associate with the word slope. So that stands for slope. M equals the change in y over the change in x, and we used to write that in college, where you'd write that as the change in y over the change in x, okay? And I will show you what that means. Another thing you need to know is M equals rise over run. Rise is up or down, run is left or right. So I'm going to get into all this, but I do want you to write this into your notes. Actually, write all of that in your notes. This is called a slope tree. I want you to draw it. It's a triangle and it has a line coming down. If a line slants up, it's going to have a positive slope. If a line slants down, it's going to have a negative slope. A line that is horizontal, which is flat across, has a 0 slope, and a line that goes up and down is undefined. Then you're going to have to memorize this formula, so make sure you're putting it on pause so you can get all this stuff. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So all of this stuff I want you to know. The first thing I'm going to teach you is how to find a slope from a graph. So when you have a graph like this, what you need to do is find 2 points that are clearly on the graph, and I made that really big. I told you that M equals rise over run. If I go up, it's a positive rise. If I go to the right, it's a positive run. If I go down, it's a negative rise, and if I go to the left, it's a negative run. So I'm going to go from this point to this point. I go up 1. So that's a positive rise, and I go to the right 1. That's a positive run. So my slope is 1 over 1, so that equals 1. So I'm going to do it again. Rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. Okay, so this slope of this line is 1. Okay, now let's look at this one. This one, I told you that when a line slants down, it's going to have a negative slope. This one slanted up, so that had a positive slope. I'm going to look at 2 points, any 2 points that you can find on the line. And I have to figure out how I get to those 2 points. So I go from here, and I'm going to rise down 1, 2, 3. If I rise down, that becomes a negative 3. And then I'm going to run 1. So it's negative 3 over 1. Rise down 3, run 1. So my slope is negative 3 over 1, which is negative 3. Okay, this was a really bad line. I didn't have a ruler. You should always use a ruler when you're drawing lines. So I'm going to go from this point to this point. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, run 1. So my rise is 8 and my run is 1. So my slope is going to be 8. Okay? All right, so what if I had a line that looked like this? This is my XY axis. And I had a line, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this point is 0, 6. And I had a line like this. Well, I told you according to the slope tree over there that the slope of this is 0. So if you have this type of line, the slope is 0. Same thing if you have a vertical line. Okay, you go by the slope tree. If you have a vertical line, here's your x and your y. This slope is actually undefined, okay? That would be undefined. When we learned about functions, we learned that you couldn't have 2 x's the same. In this line up and down, if you were doing that vertical ruler test, you would hit, if the ruler was going and I told you to beep, when you got to this line if there's more than one x. So you'd be going beep, 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 beep. This slope is undefined and this is not a function. That's what you learned. Okay, so how do we find a slope given 2 points? You're given 2 points and you have to find the slope. Well, this is the first point and this is your xy, so we're going to call that x1, y1. This is your second point. We're going to call that x2, y2. If you had a third point, that would be x3, y3, and so on. That's where the little 1s and 2s come from. Okay, so here's the formula that you need to memorize. Y2 minus y1 equals over x2 minus x1. This stands for the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so I start with my y2, and I look at it, and it's 7. So m equals 7 minus my y1 is 3 over x2 minus x1. 7 minus 3 is 4. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. So if I can reduce it, I reduce it, and I can to negative 1. So the slope of the line that passes through this line, these 2 points, is negative 1. That means it's going to be a line slanting downwards because it's negative. Okay, let's do this one. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Y2 minus y1, right there, over x2 minus, now I have a negative x1, so it's going to be a double negative. And you know when you have a double negative, you have to make that positive. A negative 1 plus a negative 5, when your signs are the same, you're going to add the numbers and keep the sign. 4 plus 3 is 7. So my slope is negative 6/7. Okay, over here, you can come closer or zoom in if you need to. Is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Notice the double negative again, that becomes positive. 4 minus 9, they're different signs. I subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. These two are the same sign, they're both positive, so I add and take the sign of what it is, which is positive. Now I can reduce this fraction to negative 1/2, and that's my answer. Okay, down here, y2 minus y1, this is m equals, over x2 minus x1. Okay. So 8 minus 6 is 2, and 4 minus 4 is 0. We have a big problem, okay? You cannot have 0 in the denominator. This is an undefined slope. What does that mean? It's going to be that vertical line that we talked about where x equals 4. So it's going to be at x equals 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to have, you're going to have a vertical line right there. That's what that line that looks like. That's what the line looks like that passes through those 2 points. Okay, it's an undefined slope. You can never have 0 in denominator. Last one over here, y2, which is this one, minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, we have a double negative again. This time I have a negative 3 plus 3. Those are opposite signs. I subtract the numbers and take the sign of the bigger number, but that's 0. 7 minus 5 is 2. When you have a 0 over 2, your slope is 0, because you can have a 0 in the numerator. This line is going to be a horizontal line, because we know what the slope tree, the horizontal line, the slope is 0, at y equals negative 3. So if I have my xy axis, y equals negative 3 is down here, I'm going to have a horizontal line at y equals negative 3. That slope is 0. All right, well, that's it. We'll be doing work on that tomorrow in class. See you later.